So good morning, welcome along to Eclipse Motorcycles today. Today's test ride, LXR in black for the customer. This one is going out to Brad. And just a quick view of the bike and to show him the test ride on this bike, as we do with all bikes at Eclipse Motorcycles. Show the customer the bike and then we show him that we run it in correctly. So very easy on these LXRs to do your maintenance. Very easy to check your oil level down there and your coolant level at the side, just inside the frame. Always make sure you've got the bike upright when you're checking your water level, as you will get an inconsistency on that. Lovely black and red to this one, the nice red frame over the black fairings. Now some people have debadged these and taken all the stickers off, and they look absolutely amazing just in the matte black with no stickers on these. So we're going to take this one out, give it a test run and show you the operation of this motorcycle. Nice seated, comfortable position on this with this low rider's seat on it. And just bringing the dash on. As usual, we'll show you the dash on this one. Very easy to see all the functions on this dash. Indicators show up just to the top on each side. You've got your neutral light, your engine light, main beam light as well when the engine is running. So we'll just fire it up. And when you've got your daytime lights on, you've got the hawk lights fully on. In the middle position you have the hawk lights, as we call them, and your single running light, and then the one on the very right hand side with the lights off is your daytime running light, which is that nice bright LED centre light that you can see in previous videos. Has an adjustable front brake. We always set the position on this for number 2, so it is mid-range on this one, and there's a nice grip of those bars. You can get that brake lever in nice and firm. Clutch on these are very smooth, so we always set the clutch operation up on this one, and just holding it on the front brake, and you can see with that clutch that's got a nice bite point about an inch out from the bars. Mirrors on this one, lovely super wide, so you've got a nice full view of the road, and my shoulder takes up, I'd say, about a quarter of that mirror on this one. LED indicators to the front, and we've got currently 1.2 miles on the clock. So we're going to take this one out into traffic and do my usual run down the dual carriageway, have a talk about the bike, and then we'll cut back in when we come back in on the urban route, as we always do with our ride test video. So 1.3 miles on this bike, and looking forward to getting out on these LXRs again. Now this is the last one in our showroom. We're currently awaiting deliveries of the next lot of LXRs, but if you have been following the Lexmoto page, you'll know that bikes are in very high demand. We are telling customers to pre-order for the next delivery, as you are not going to get a bike. So on the way to us we do have Iskas. We've got the Assaults coming as well, and we are awaiting Riots. We have got them electric ones. I'm going to be taking the electric ones out very shortly and doing a full ride test on those electric bikes as well, just to show you what them little scooters, and a full ride test once again of the Cypher, just to show you the distance we can get up on that Cypher. So just waiting for the lights to change, and we're pulling out into traffic on this one. But a lovely deep grumble from that LXR engine. Obviously this is a water cooled engine, and it's a very sturdy and reliable engine on these. We don't get many problems with the LXRs. So just pulling it out into traffic, pulling through the box, second gear, third gear, up in the fourth, and then up into fifth. Nice and steady on the throttle for the first ride test, and get the bike up to around about 40 mile an hour, which is your running in speed. And obviously from previous videos we have told you about running these in at around about 40 to 45 mile an hour, just to get the first bit of run test mileage in on these. And obviously these are not designed, and you shouldn't be running them straight up to full speed, because you will be getting engine wear, bore scoring and bluing off the cylinders. So do take it very easy. And that was coming in on the combined braking, so just checking the back brake on that, and it pulls up nice and crisp on that back brake. Going a bit careful on the tyres, because they are brand new tyres, and as we've said on the Lexmoto bikes, they are nylon tyres, but they do a very effective job, especially in the dry. They're just as grippy as the rubber ones, and obviously in the wet weather on new tyres you should be taking it a little bit easier. You shouldn't be cornering as hard as you do on a dry road. Taking it nice and easy. Obviously a lot of things going on at the garage this week. We have a lot of bikes going out and a lot of bikes going out again next week. And we're going to try and cram in as many ride tests as we can over the next week. Unfortunately, I am on holiday for a week. I'm going to have a week off from the garage and go and enjoy the sunny sand of the seaside. So all the ride tests are going to be coming up this week, so do keep an eye on the channel. And we have loved some of the comments that are coming in about the Lexmoto bikes on previous videos that I've done. People are saying, oh, compare it to this bike, a little bit more money, compare it. It is up to the individual customer. As we always say, I ride the Lexmoto brand, but other riders do have their own opinions of other bikes, and we'd like to know what you think comparing these to other bikes. It's good to know that we are getting some feedback on the channel and people are leaving their comments for us, so thank you very much for all your comments and what you think of the Lexmoto products, and obviously we'd like to know the likes and the hates. It's nice to get an opinion of what everybody thinks about bikes. And we have had a few comments about people saying that we do take a lot of care and attention to when we run our bikes in. Yes, we do. Obviously I'm very, very privileged to be allowed to do this all the time. And I am very passionate about my job, and if Lexmoto state in their policy this is what you must do, then stick to it. I haven't had any changes of paperwork since, so I'm going to stick to what I do and what I have been told. It's like saying don't put your head in an open fire. Would you do it? No, of course you wouldn't. So Lexmoto have told you what to do, do it. So running this in for the customer anyway. Brakes are all good, levers are in the right position, braking is lovely and crisp. Suspension on this all been checked out as well. Obviously it's got that Taro rear suspension on it, and it's just as good as anything from the big market like the Olins or the Nitrons. Does a very, very effective job of soaking up the bumps and the potholes. And the seating position on this, obviously with my feet I'd say about an inch back from mid-centre, it does tuck your knees nice and tightly into that tank, and with that deep seat on the LXR you are tucked in very, very nicely in a very comfortable seating position. It's not a full-on dropped handlebars race position, so it's quite an upright handlebar on this one. Feels like I've got a set of bar risers on it, but these are the standard handlebars on it, but very, very nice position. And with the mirrors you get a very, very nice view on the road, but as I always say, shoulder check all the time please. Should always be checking shoulders when you're changing position, slowing down or accelerating. So that is what we always say with shoulder checks. Now I do tend to over check my shoulders quite a lot, but obviously don't over check on your shoulders too much, because looking over the shoulder like so, you are taking your forward vision away for split seconds. So always make sure that you've got enough space cushion in front of you from the vehicle in front before you do shoulder checks. And obviously going through the box is keeping up with the traffic beside me. And then we're going to come in on the front brake this time. A nice big handful of front brake, and front brake very, very effective as well. So braking system on this all good. And once again, quick shoulder check before we change lanes. But even rev matching down or just going through the gearbox with no revs, gear changes lovely, lovely and soft on this one. Not clunky and not too sloppy either. So it's the one thing I do like about the gearboxes on the LXRs. They are very, very smooth. Now obviously with the LXRs they don't look like a 125. They are based around the 380, very similar, but the frame is slightly different on them as well. So just final quick shoulder check before we pull out in the traffic. And sitting around about 42-43 mile an hour for run test mileage. And as always, lane position number 1. I always say, if you are riding, try to avoid being in the centre of the road, because that is where all the rubbish from the cars, where the car wheels are not tracking, that's where all your rubbish, all your oil and all your gravel is going to occur. So always ride position 1. Or if you are on single carriageway, try and ride position 3. Occupy the road, dominate the lane, make the cars wait for you. Obviously on a 60, I would say ride position 1. So 5.4 miles on the bike. And so far so good. We never ever have a problem with these LXRs. So very, very nice bike. So what we're going to do, we're going to crack some more mileage up onto this bike, and I shall catch up with you when we're back into town on the urban routes. I'll see you guys in just a few. So we're just coming back off the dual carriageway now. Currently 15.8 miles on the bike, 0 issues, as you would expect with these LXRs. An absolutely gorgeous ride this morning. It's just starting to warm up, apart from the cold fingers. But pull still, the gearbox absolutely crisp and smooth. Absolutely 0 issues on with this bike. So we're just going to take it into town, get the last couple of miles on it or so, and then final ride test in a couple of days once it's had its final bolt checks. So customer's going to be very, very happy with this one. Absolutely effective, everything working correctly as it should, and as I always say, it does what it says on the tin. Tyres on this are nicely scrubbed in now as well. I've been doing a little bit of weaving going up and down the dual carriageway just to try and get some wear on the edges of those tyres for the customer. So while we're waiting for the lights to change, and then we'll be off and we'll get in some town mileage just to show you what it's like just handling around the town. And while I've got the visor up, have a quick listen to the engine note on this. It's a lovely deep growl from that LXR engine. And just see how, obviously leaving a space cushion, how other vehicles are totally in the wrong lane. That is why we always say leave a space cushion between you and the vehicle in front. What we are going to do, I'm going to switch my route up here. I don't want to be following a van. We'll go down through the town instead. And it just folds through those roundabouts so nicely. Even on a big pothole coming up, and it just soaks up those bumps. No movement from the tyres whatsoever on rough surfaces, which is good to know from these nylon tyres. They do take the road very well, almost as good as the rubbers. But I always say, if you're going to be riding it normally, you shouldn't need to change the tyres. The stock tyres are good enough, but if you are going to be obviously taking it a little bit further over on the corners, then I would say switch up, get yourself a decent set of tyres. But these stock tyres from Lexmoto do a very, very good job, and I've never had any breakaway from the rear end, even leaning it over as far as I do on test rides. So came back into town, and we got 17 miles on the clock. The final 2 miles for me to do a couple of days before handover, just to check the operation of the bike. So it's been the LXR 125, yet another one that I have test ridden. There are loads on my page, and I absolutely love these little LXRs. Do a very, very good job. As always, if you enjoyed the video, and I'm sure Brad will, thumbs up, thumbs down, leave your opinions at the bottom. I'd love to hear your comments, what you think of these LXRs. And it's always nice to see what other people think of different bikes. So comments very, very welcome. As always, all the social media can be found on my website, revbomb.co.uk. All the merch is on there as well if you fancy a Revbomb t-shirt. Eclipse Motorcycles, bottom of the first page, or you could give the guys a call, 01908 643 603. Come book a viewing to see one of these. As always, my social media is on the last page. Links to my YouTube, Instagram, Twitter and the Facebook. And until the next ride test, guys, be well, ride safe, and from RB, it's a big goodbye from me.